Hey guys, so this is podcast number 3 at CrossFit Chichester. I have Coach Darren in the room with me, and I also have my lovely lady Lydia. And we wanted to cover some topics and go updates for stuff that's going on in the gym, and talk about things that have come up this week, and I'm quite excited. So we've got several things that we want to talk about. We've got Hyrox. We're going to talk about programming. We're going to talk about adaptations for injuries and how to work around. And then we're going to go and talk about something Darren's been working on. So I asked Darren to work on an article to develop more power and stability in joints. And we're going to dive into that. So, I mean, the first thing, thanks for coming on, Darren. And thank you for joining me again, darling. So the first thing, massive success for you guys has been Hyrox over the weekend. Yeah. We've had 2 teams.
Yeah, it's a fantastic weekend. So big shout out to Matt, Jose and Adam. So we did that as a team, which I think is a perfect introduction to Hyrox. Those of you who don't know what Hyrox is, it's a kind of a standardised fitness race, happens all over the world. We obviously do it here in the UK, so we did it in London, where you do running as well as 8 stations, a whole number of things which you can read up on. But sled pull, sled push, rowing, skiing, wall balls, lunges, farmer's carry, and probably something I'm missing out. Burpee broad jumps, my least favourite thing. But it's a fantastic event. I think we did really well as a team. But I think the thing that probably good to talk about today is just, I suppose, training and preparing for something like that. Because it's very easy to get, I guess, fixated on one aspect of it. But really, when you look at Hyrox as a whole, a lot of the stuff that we do in the gym is perfect for Hyrox. So I would say really, as long as you're coming and doing a good program like we do here, you will build strength, you'll build the engine, and then it's just about topping it off with things that may be your weakness. So for me, my weakness is running. So I had to focus a bit on building up some more capacity for running.
How long do you think you started training? You started running for? As soon as you signed up?
It was probably about 3 months, but then all I did is once a week, a bit of extra running.
Oh really? So
only once a week.
That's interesting.
Because still going to the gym 3 times a week, still building the engine, still getting everything else that comes up in the programming.
And how far were you running on each of those?
So it's a 1k run.
So you just did a 1k run.
Yeah, I did it
once a week. Or?
Yeah. So I did. So what I actually started building up was doing a 1k run followed by one of the exercises. So you come in to do one of the stations in a fatigued state, like you're breathing hard, and then you go in and start pushing the sled, or you go in and you start lunging.
Yeah.
And then going it back out for another run, and then coming in and doing another station. So you're building up that sequence of run, because you can't run at your absolute top speed, because you'll just come in and collapse. Because you need to be able to run, come in, and hit the wall balls or hit the sled and get on with it. So it's getting that balance right, and just building up that capacity. So I really think that the programming that we have here is the perfect preparation, and then all you need to do is add on a few bits that maybe you're not so good at. So if you're a runner already, you probably don't need to do that. You need to practice probably the sled
pull,
or the lunges. So it's very different doing a lot of lunges and then going for a run. As opposed to just going through it, because some people who like to run, they go for a 10k run and there's no problem for them.
Well, we see that in the programming, that we see runs in between doing back squats, heavy back squats,
exactly.
And you've got wobbly legs.
It's a complete different feeling. You're running down the road, your legs aren't even alive yet because you just lifted that weight. So it's that kind of thing to prepare for.
It's like Murph, isn't it? It's when you come off that second run. Oh my goodness! After those 300 air squats. Yeah.
And then I think just leading up to that, the preparation, I think psychologically and recovery as well, I think was important. I think that...
you sent all your recovery stats from Whoop, which were amazing, because you managed over the week to completely peak on the day of on your day.
Yeah, you did manage that perfectly.
I've never seen anyone do that before so well.
96% recovery on Whoop, that's quite good.
Other people try to, but your heart rate had gone down, your resting heart rate had gone up, and your sleep,
HRV was top up as well.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know what we're talking about, Whoop is a tracking sort of band that you put around your wrist. And it monitors how your body is responding to stress, or how much stress your body is under, by tracking things like your heart rate or your skin temperature or your sleep, and it is a very effective way of looking at the changes in your body and your body's central nervous system. So it will teach you when to push hard in a workout or when not to, when you need a rest day, etc. And it's a really good piece of kit to help if you're trying to improve your health. So
Darren, it's like a dark art, like what you did.
Yeah.
So tell us.
Actually, tell us what you did. So you did nothing for.
Well, so a week before that, so leading up to the week. So I think on the Monday, I did the workout in the gym here. Well, I can't remember what it was, to be honest. Whatever the prescribed workout was, I did it. But I did it at a kind of a medium weight, so I didn't go as heavy as I would normally, just to kind of get the movement in and get the engine going. And then on the Tuesday, I did some gentle running and gentle lunges without weight. So I basically kind of simulated a bit of the Hyrox workout, but without the load. So I went for a run, came in, did some lunges, but just body weight, and then I went for a run. Wednesday, I played football, but actually I played in goal for most of the hour. So I ran around. I ran around for about 20 minutes, and then I said, "Yeah, guys, I'll go in goal." So I went in goal for about 40 minutes. So
you were worried about injuries.
Yeah, I was a bit worried more about injuries, really. Yeah. And then I didn't do any other workouts Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, and I was really focused on those days leading up on two things: sleep and nutrition.
So what did you do with your nutrition? Was it kind of
you just followed the 6 week challenge?
All the principles of the 6 week challenge, and my weakness is sugar. Now I'm not on the 6 week challenge now, so I've introduced some little treats here and there, but actually leading up to it I just cut them out again, so I had no sugar kind of giving me any inflammation or putting me off track with anything else.
So how much weight did you lose over the 6 week challenge?
Well, on the 6 weeks it was about 7k, but then I carried on afterwards for probably about another 4 weeks or so about 10k overall.
You lost 10 kilos?
Yeah.
So
you
about
look like you're in the best shape.
That's awesome.
I've seen you in.
Yeah.
So what was your weight at the beginning, then where are you at right now?
97 to 87.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And
kg, that is.
Do you think you felt like really hungry like throughout that, or was it for you was the transition like fairly
not hungry. The first 3 days, actually the first day was fine, but then days 2, 3 and 4 was really hard because that was sugar withdrawal, so it really showed me how much sugar I was consuming, because I don't add sugar to things, but it's all the added sugar that's in all sorts of things, and like honey as well. I would put honey in porridge and all that added sugar. And I had 3 days of absolute hell, where I really had bad withdrawals, felt tired, I could have just slept the whole thing, headachy, irritable. But then after that,
your body adapted.
After what was day 4,
it's the come down, isn't it?
It was fine after that, and then it really worked. So that also really helps massively with Hyrox as well, because you're not carrying the weight on those runs, you're not carrying the weight through any of the stations, and then sleep. So I had a few naps in the afternoon. I had the luxury of being able to have a nap, I think, Thursday afternoon, which was nice. And I had a nap Saturday afternoon as well. I know practically life doesn't always allow for naps. I was in a luxurious situation where I could. So it's really nutrition, and so managing the load, then nutrition, and then naps. And then on the day was firing all cylinders. So I definitely saw some other people, not our team, but who were so jacked up and loaded up with Red Bull and Monster and everything. So some people
oh my goodness.
Yeah, and some people were throwing up even before they'd started. It's like,
really?
Yeah.
What's from nerves or?
I don't know. Probably bad nutrition and bad sleep and bad stress. And
I think you definitely set yourself up to really win at that. And I think actually everyone who, nearly everyone who did the Hyrox, your team, had all done the challenge. They'd all been following the plan for one period or not. So
Ben
both
and Jose have all done it. Yeah, you all did it.
So they'd all done it, which is really good. It's a good sign to challenge team. So you did the challenge at the beginning of this year. Yep. So it's really good.
So really, it's a good way to
I completely agree.
So anyone that wants to do Hyrox, we'll set up a few briefing sessions, and we can come along and we can have a chat about it and go through the movements, and you can see if you want to sign up for a future race.
So next one's in May, isn't it?
Next one is May. Yeah.
I think it'd be good. We could set up a probably a Hyrox session would make
I
sense,
think
wouldn't
so.
it? Yeah, on either a Saturday or Sunday or
I
something.
think
like
well
that.
done for inspiring
Yes.
so many people
Saturday
in
at
the
10 a.m.
gym
or
to
something.
get competing. Yeah, if we do,
We could do
add
something like that.
8 a.m. Saturday.
You can't call it Hyrox though. You have to call
No,
it something else.
10 a.m.
Yeah.
Competition
Call
training
it-
or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Something endurance. Yeah, we can call it something
Watch
like
this space.
that. Hyrox. We can call it that.
Chyrox. Well, we've done one Chyrox.
Yeah, so we could call it
You
Hyrox
could call it
training.
that.
Yeah, you call it Hyrox. No one could
We
complain
could do
about
our own Chyrox. Let's call it
that.
Chyrox.
We can call it Hyrox.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
It's
next on
official
the
now.
list?
So we're going to talk about the programming. So because last week we made a change, we shifted over to using Jason Khalifa's programming. So he is a dude he won the CrossFit Games in 2008, maybe 2009, sometime around then.
Before Rich
so
Froning
before
started.
anyone knew anything, but Jason Khalifa had also competed like multiple CrossFit Games until about 2014, 2015. So he's a big player in it. A lot of gyms. He's got a lot of gyms all over the world, and he's got a very, very good programming team. So we decided that we would go and test it out for the week, and I mean, I loved it. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I liked what you probably don't see when in the gym is there's a lot of teaching notes they give us behind the scenes as well.
Yeah.
Explains
I
things
felt more
and
prepped.
helps us as
sessions.
coaches to kind of know how to deliver the best class for whoever walks through the door. So I did like that side of it.
Yeah, I thought that was.
Yeah.
I liked the extra prep, and the thing that I've written down in my notes, guys, is that because the cool downs, and because we found that cash outs are less necessary given if the right stimulus in the workout and if you properly prepare for it, and so therefore prioritising a cool down instead of a cash out seems to be a much better way of doing things, because it gives you a chance for your body to recover, it gives you a chance to be able to lengthen those muscles, make use of the fact that you're nice and warm to try and improve your range of motion, and then work on any weaknesses and imbalances and things like knee problems or back problems or hip issues. And I think from for you guys, the priority should be to have a proper warm up, train hard, cool down sort of approach to training. I think you're more likely to be able to sustain fitness, because the worst thing that can happen is you go and do something and you push for maybe 6 to 12 months, and then all of a sudden you get injured and then you don't see it, because I've seen that happen a lot of time.
Yeah.
People who go and do CrossFit like intensely for a year or two, and then all of a sudden
Well, you don't
stop
want your
doing it.
time at the gym to be hammering yourself, so
Yeah.
you can't do anything the rest of the day. You've got to get on with your life. You want to be able to move outside of the gym as well,
Absolutely.
whether that's with kids or walking the dog or playing sport or whatever it is you do.
Yeah.
So having that mindset of this is part of it, rather than I'm going to kill myself during the hour, it's a much healthier way to
Totally.
cool down.
And the next thing we were talking about was adaptations, because I think we were going to talk about injuries. So my best good news is, well, I've been dealing with a hip issue for the last 8 years, and it's sort of slowly kind of limited what I do. But I think that working around it has really actually been a really good thing.
You've done so much
So
rehab on it.
yeah, I've done a lot of rehab.
The top surgeon said yesterday that you don't actually need surgery.
Yeah, so I don't need surgery, which is a huge win, because he said if you mess around with the joint, then it's more likely to cause more stiffness, not less.
Yeah.
Which sort of makes sense. He said that. That's a real win for me, because I was prepping myself up to have a big surgery, but based off of the scans that were 12 months apart and the X-rays, he was like, there's no change in the joint. If anything, it's improved.
Yeah.
So and that's from adapting the sessions. So like just changing the movements. So like not lifting from the floor, for anything heavy, not squatting.
You've been extremely disciplined with your nutrition.
Yeah.
For the last
Years.
18 months,
Yeah.
really strict,
Yeah.
and very limited any kind of alcohol or anything like that, and you've given your body a chance to really recover quite a major injury
Yeah.
without intervention. So that's really good.
Yeah. So I think so, and then basically, I mean, this certainly from how I've approached training is that I've tried to just do the things that I can do, focus on those things, take those as wins, and not try and get too upset about the things that I can't do, like lots and lots of running, or like really heavy deadlifts. Like it's not such a big deal because there's actually a ton of other stuff that you can do, But yeah, so I think, working around injuries, one of the things that we're really working on at the moment, we've been really trying hard to, is ask them in session if there are any injuries, so we know what kind of adaptations.
Yeah, it helps a lot. Yeah. When you get to know what things people are working with, and you can, again, it helps us to prepare as well. We can always come up with something, on the moment, but the more we know in advance as well, really helps to think through, okay, so-and-so is coming in, right, this is what I think I can do for them.
Yes.
This is what I can swap that movement for. I think the more experience personally I get, then I can do those a bit more quickly, but knowing in advance also helps as well, so I can prepare.
Definitely. If we know you're coming, so that's when booking into the sessions really helps, makes a big deal, because then we know that we can make the appropriate adaptations to the session.
Point. Shout out, please, if you have got an injury and you don't book in, it makes it very hard for us to
Yes,
plan. So at least book in so we know.
At least it gives you time to choose something that will give you the same stimulus as the thing that's programmed, and that's what you want. So your programming is continuous.
Yeah. I was on the level 2 a few weeks ago, and the seminar staff woman, Nat, had an elbow operation. And she was super competitive athlete, really, really super fit, and was really worried about not being able to train hard after having an operation or an injury, but just worked around it and had her coach to program in exercises that she could do, so it was just not using her right arm for like however many weeks until it improved. So
I don't want to blow your trumpet, but in eyebrows. But you have been progressing people for like over 10 years now. So if there was anyone I would want to ask of like how to progress movement, would be you, because you have like right at the top of your brain, you have so many options. So
coaching people it does teach you a lot. And I think then the other thing that we've been talking about, so I asked Darren a few weeks ago to go and research and talk about write an article on torque, so this idea of rotational force. What was the main thing that you learned? And this is to do with preventing injuries. So
well, it was very much. Firstly, I'd heard the term, I'd heard it discussed, and I'd heard people say, turn your feet forward, or even just push your knees out as well, and things like that. And you just don't really stop to think about why. But then, kind of reading up on it from what you recommended, seeing how that rotational force, i.e., torque, tightens the joints. Joints are meant to be loose because you've got to move. You've got to move your ankles. You've got to move your knees. You've got to move everything. And loading while they're loose is where you get the injury. So you think of either your knees or your ankles or your wrists or your shoulders. If you start to load a heavy barbell on top of you and you haven't got everything tightened up, and the natural movement in a joint, and when you're moving it across a range of motion as well, if you're doing a snatch or even you're doing a thruster and you're not thinking about tightening everything up, that looseness crashing down on you and moving every time is where the injury can happen, because you're not braced. You're not braced.
So is it the same as bracing? Or is bracing more muscles and torque is more like...
I think there's an element of it. I think part of bracing, we tend to think more about the core.
Yeah.
But then everything that goes around the core, the hips, the knees and the ankles, kind of an element of brace. You can describe it kind of bracing, but for the mobile joints.
Yeah.
Obviously the core itself there is not a joint.
But there is a difference between torque and brace. So like for
bracing
you,
pulse,
as a coach, do you cue, right, we want more torque, so you're going to twist your feet?
We tend not to refer to torque because it gets a bit technical, but we will prompt you to say, push your feet into the floor and screw your feet into the floor.
So screwing action, which makes
or
you twist
pushing your knees out, pulling your shoulders back. So we'll describe it in that way. Yeah, bending the bar when you're overhead.
So I do that cue sometimes, squeeze the little finger, which instantly
it's all little.
Yeah, that's again giving you. But
exactly
that's also
the same thing.
Giving you torque in your elbow. And also in your shoulder.
I gave that cue for rowing, squeezing your little fingers.
That makes huge
sense. And actually, everyone starts to sit upright and engage their lats. And
So actually, it gives you more power because everything's tightened in, and then you can use the full extension of all the joints giving you that power. But I think for preventing injury as you progress load is more important.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So if you're
We'll post that article.
We'll post the article because it's really good. But it's but definitely if you struggle if you're any getting sort of any knee pain or any kind of so in knee pain in the squats or maybe a little bit of shoulder pain when you're pressing, you can often rectify a lot of those painful issues or lessen them by applying more torque and by trying to concentrate on that because your body's designed to do that. Even with back pain.
Yeah, can I ask? So like lower back pain, which a lot of people,
bracing
definitely
in
in
and
my
torque winding
family,
in.
we have a slightly overextended lower back, so we have
You get
an
hyperextension.
extended hyper arch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only way you can't really apply torque, but what you brace your
Push
hips
glutes
under and your tummy down, so rib cage down and hips under, so tailbone in, and that's really the only way to stop that back pain. And that's how I stopped all back pain when I first started lifting, and I used to get that. Because I stick, like it looks like you're sticking your bum out, but you're not. It's the way you stand. But yeah, once you're like, tummy in, tuck your tailbone in, that's
makes huge difference.
Yeah.
And bracing is one of those things, isn't it? It's that. So yeah. Well, look, guys, thank you so much for listening. We really, really appreciate you being part of it. We've, from the first couple that we've posted out, it's been really nice to hear your feedback. So. And it spurred us on to go make this one. So and if you think that this has been helpful, you can maybe share it with someone who you may know, because I like to listen to podcasts when I'm driving along. They're quite nice. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Anything else you want us to talk about?
Yeah. If you want us to cover other topics, you can always ask us questions and we can go in and dive into it. So again, thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.